good evening, I think, by now. I would like to talk about, of course, automotive and Industry 4.0, which is very much connected with some Industry 4.0 principles. We will talk about that in a minute. And I will bring you 0 videos, unfortunately, and we have seen, I think, fantastic videos here, but I will bring you the more interesting topic because it's about motorbikes. And the reference case I will talk about is from Harley-Davidson. And I think for the male audience, this should be of great interest. I've been asked to not talk about a specific technology, but about innovation in a company. So how does a huge company like Harley-Davidson actually innovate? How do they do that? How did they do that? In what kind of process are they? And I would like to get this across to you because I think it's a remarkable case. It's a very interesting case, which is very much into Industry 4.0, Economy 4.0, you name it. Okay, before we look at that case, let me look at 3 key things, which I think, they will be reflected in the case, which I think are very core to transforming a company into the knowledge age, into what we call Industry 4.0 or Economy 4.0. I think this is all about IoT, Internet of Things, or from a technology perspective, connected sensors. This is about big data. You need to have the capability to gather the data, first of all, and if you can do that, fantastic. Then you can achieve something like, a data-driven predictive business. This is where you want to go, actually, in Industry 4.0. And you may know some of those numbers, and I think I took the more conservative examples here. This is already very, very true. This is real, and Internet of Things epitomizes, I think, a major digital transformation. You can see here the number of installed devices of the installed base. This is around 1 billion, and I think that's very conservative by 2020. I mean, this is 2.5 years from now. And you can see the investment that goes into that area. And this is, I think, 70 billion also is very, very conservative. This, I think, is much more. From this follows, actually, and I want to show this because you will see this reflected in the case, some of the principles of Industry 4.0. And companies who do this right, and I think Harley-Davidson did that right, they actually followed some principles like agility. Agility across the production chain, agility across logistics, agility across supply within the company. The second certainly is simulation. There is no need for you to invest into any kind of setup. You can simulate today. And this is very much about efficiency. Efficiency related to energy and resources, and we will come to that point. So I think that's on the foundation. This is what you need, and this is what Harley-Davidson was certainly aware of. And when we look at the benefits, actually, and this is true for the entire Industry 4.0 environment, if you will, this starts with the benefits for companies. This starts with operational efficiency. This goes over new products and services. This is what you need to stay alive in this Industry 4.0. And it works over outcome economy, so on-demand economy, a term you are certainly familiar with, towards something we call, end-to-end integrated, an autonomous pull economy. You will also see that reflected. Okay. So I think you're all aware of this company. Strong brand, a very traditional approach of the company. They live for their products. I think that's pretty clear. We all do know that. And what is it they have done and how did they do that? And I think the key point you can see actually at the top of this slide on the left-hand side. This is a remarkable quotation, actually. At McGee, he is the general manager in their York operation. He says, "We communicate openly in real time and proactively solve problems together." This is an example of how a company gives visibility into the entire chain, from suppliers over manufacturing towards logistics, delivery. And that is, I think, a striking example, and you will see some pictures on that. So what did they focus on? They really focused on real-time information, data. You remember that point we talked about. They understood that. They understood how to gather the data and how to use the data to come to something like a predictive business. They streamlined their processes big time, and you will see this in pictures in a minute, because they consequently challenged the processes in the entire company and said, what is it that makes it really digital? This was not about changing a process, changing a bad process, or digitizing a bad process, which leads to a bad digital process. They were talking about completely new processes. Orders, BOMs, routings, so bills of material, this all moved to the shop floor for execution without paper. They are paper-free. And so, look, okay, it's a bit historic, let me say ancient kind of. This is how the assembly line looked like. And this is what it looks like today. And the bigger one gives you an impression. So you see robots here. This is really replenishment, completely automated. What is behind that is an end-to-end integration of processes. And they do this in a very brutal way, if you will, because they decided to really focus on efficiency of processes and simplification of processes. This is a striking example. So how did they do that? I said that before, end-to-end integration. And here you see actually the buzzwords, but also the topics from the first slide. This is data. This is a data-driven business they have created. Many people say, we have that. It's not true. Because this is unique. This is built on SAP, by the way. This is a complete visibility from the supplier over the production towards the delivery. So this is really facing the issues in logistics, facing the issues in the entire process, and brutally prioritizing digitization, making processes much more simple. And we talked about benefits before. Just some key numbers that the company publishes. Costs went down by 7%. Net margin went up by 19% over a specified period of time. I took something which we are allowed to publish here, but it's a relevant time window we are talking about. And obviously, the shareholders have been quite happy about the performance of the company. So I think a striking case with regards to Industry 4.0, Economy 4.0, changing a business model. So finally, my personal view onto this. If you as a company want to do something like this, like they did, certainly it's about great technology. Certainly it's about your capability to manage data, specifically. It's about your capability to change the organization, but it's about something else. It's about strategic focus. We looked at more than 100 cases over the last 5 years of companies who did it right, as we would say, who are very successful in digitally transforming their company. And I believe this is what we found. And you may know this from the Blue Ocean strategy. We tried to apply this to what the companies did. They did 4 things. 4 things. No more, no less. They erased and reduced something in the customer experience, in their organization, and in their overall business model. And they did that, let me use that word again, in a brutal manner. So, we don't do this anymore. They completely erased something, like organizations, parts of the business model. They reduced something, like investment into back-end technology, the old way. And at the same time, they decided, and that's strategic focus, at the same time they decided, okay, we invest into digital, we do something else, we raise something, with regards to the product, with regards to a specific business model, and we dare create something. And this is what was happening in those companies at the same time. Do something less, do something more, do it at the same time, phase the old world out, phase the new world in, and go ahead and be very decided from a strategic perspective. That was it. The organizers gave me 9 minutes. Was this 9 minutes? Thank you very much. Thank you.